as you can tell. Oh, shh.
What the hell is that?
Rick, back to the vehicle! Yes,
Checking, mic check. How you guys doing? Welcome. Thanks for coming. Sunday afternoon, Sunday, almost evening, depending on where you're at. Annalise, Katrina, hey. Xavier, if you guys wouldn't mind hitting like, please, too. That really actually helps the algorithm. Hopefully notifications go out.
The most common makeup mistake.
Making sure we're green light, everything's running all right. Facebook, YouTube. How's the connection? How's the sound? Good? Thanks for coming. What's up, man? Welcome. How you guys doing? Thanks for stopping by. I wanted to do this story about Echo Lloyd. Leave It to Beaver brought my attention to it. She's been missing since May 10th, 2020. That was Mother's Day. Her daughter has been speaking on, or representing, kind of speaking on her behalf, advocating for her mother. A couple of things real quick. So there is a GoFundMe that they set up. So, I mean, that's been set up since, let me see here, for a while now. It's been since November 30th, 2020. Okay. I put the link in the description. There's also a Facebook page that you can check out, Bring Echo Home, which is the daughter directly speaking to people. And so once I present the story to you, we're going to watch some of her clips. I downloaded it and I fixed the audio a little bit because it was kind of low. And there's also a website, Bring Echo Home. So if you ever want to go check yourself for updates, or if you want to watch directly, which we're going to watch these three together, you can do that. Other thing, I posted this story earlier today. So if you haven't checked it out after this stream or later on, go check out this story, Michael Vaughn, a missing boy. And also this story, Darius Swain. It's a local story. Body found. No foul play suspected, but a family member commented. I think it was a family member commented earlier today and said that they believe that it's more than that. There's more to the story. So just a heads up. Now, let me play. I have some news clips before I read this article. This was the best article that I saw because I started taking notes at first. I was going down, taking clips from different articles, and I was like, I found this one. I was like, oh, this is really well put together. We could just do this in a stream. We can kind of kick back and watch some of the things. And I also thought, who better to tell a story than Echo's daughter herself, right? I could sit here and tell you all day, but the daughter actually spoke on it. So her daughter's name is Kelsey. And there's another person that's been speaking to the media and stuff too. Mary, she's Echo's cousin. And so let me pull up the news clip. We'll take a look at that to give a kind of brief summary before I go down all the details. This one here.
A new plea for help tonight from the family of a missing woman. This woman here.
Echo was 47. I don't know when her birthday is and stuff like that, but 47.
Vanished without a trace from Benton County about a year ago now. Marina Silva joins us from Warsaw with the family's new plea for help.
Paul, it's been 422 days since anyone has heard from Echo Lloyd. Her daughter tried to contact her on Mother's Day of last year and never got an answer. Vigils are pretty much regularly held here in Warsaw, and the family is still asking for the public's help in bringing Echo home.
She was an absolutely gorgeous person inside and out. She was...
This is Mary, Echo's cousin that I just told you.
Fun and bubbly and charismatic, and I'm not sure if she ever met anyone who didn't like her.
Mary Dubray is Echo Lloyd's cousin. She's been one of the people leading the efforts to find any answers as to what happened to Echo.
I can't imagine.
And this story is pretty weird. Give it a little bit of time to build up, but it's weird. She's literally gone without a trace. It's kind of super bizarre.
That we're gonna find her alive. I pray for that. I don't think that's reality at this point in time. But she deserves to have her life celebrated.
Echo went missing from her home in Benton County in May of 2020.
Her daughter was in constant communication with her, and I know there were other people that she talked to on a regular basis. And her daughter had tried to go see her on Mother's Day, taken her a gift, left it on the porch because she wasn't home.
The daughter contacted police later after going over to the house and finding her mom's personal items had been left behind.
Her purse was there. Her wallet was there. Her cigarettes were there. And
I was wondering about that, Eddie, if she had a boyfriend or something like that. I don't know. I know that we're going to get into in a second, but she, Kelsey, I believe, mentioned a stepfather, but that they ended off their relationship amicably, the mother and the stepfather. So, but I wonder too, I don't know, she was dating. I haven't watched the full video. I haven't really watched any of it. We're going to watch the daughter speak in a second, which she posted this video like 6 weeks ago.
The only thing missing was her car keys.
Benton County Sheriff Eric Knox says investigators are always following up on new leads and still looking for answers.
I want the public, somebody out there knows what happened to Echo. And I don't believe it's just one person. I don't think that there's just one person that would have this knowledge.
According to Sheriff Knox, investigators have put in thousands of hours trying to find her.
All of our local people, still think about Echo, and the signs are still up, and all of our local folks, have their eyes peeled.
Her family thinks someone who knows her has something to do with her disappearance. The sheriff says someone has to know something.
And I don't believe it's just one person. I don't think that there's just one person that would have this knowledge.
The family holds on to hope, searching for answers, waiting to hear from Echo.
Lisa says that she was ending a relationship when she went missing. The daughter was in profiling Eva a while back. Oh, I didn't know that. The daughter was on Leave It to Beaver's channel too. I didn't know that either until now. Beaver probably told me, but I guess I didn't listen or something. Before we get into these details, I'm going to play this clip too. This was July 10th.
This isn't just a face on a flyer. This is a real person, and we love her, and we want her home. We want her home.
A desperate plea from a Missouri family to help find their missing cousin. Echo Lloyd was last seen 2 months ago today in Climax Springs. Andrew Vranek spoke to her cousin in Bates County and joined us live with more on this call for help. Andrew?
Lisa, Echo Lloyd was last seen on Mother's Day. That was May 10th. She was last seen at a Dollar General in Climax Springs. Her daughter, her brother, and her cousins haven't heard from or seen her since. They think someone out there knows what happened to her. It's been a hard 2 months for Mary Dubray and her family.
It's been devastating.
Dubray's cousin, Echo Lloyd, has been missing since Mother's Day. She was last seen at the Dollar General in Climax Springs.
That is the last time we believe she was seen or heard from.
Lloyd hasn't used her cell phone, credit cards, or filled prescriptions since her disappearance.
She's on several medications that she does not have with her, nor does she have her billfold or her car. She is absolutely missing without a trace.
The Benton County Sheriff's Office is investigating. They are getting help from the Missouri State Highway Patrol and the FBI.
We don't feel that she, decided to leave her life or is gone of her own free will. We feel, as the family, we feel like there is definitely foul play involved.
Dubray, her sister, and Lloyd's daughter, Kelsey Smith, have set up a Facebook page to try and spread the word about Lloyd in hopes someone knows something.
We want to get her face in front of as many people as we can so that someone can recognize her and say, oh, I know what happened. I'm going to help these people find their loved one.
Dubray said her family isn't giving up hope, even though there are moments when doubt starts to set in.
When you lose someone that you love and you know how and why, it's devastating. But when you lose someone that you love and you don't know why, and you don't know where they are, and you don't know what happened, it's a wound that won't heal. And it's really, really hard to move past that.
So let me get to this article, which I thought had great details. And then once we get through this article, it's quite a bit of reading, but this was like the most detailed thing. And I thought it would be good to go through this because it goes through the timeline and details. And after I read this article, then we're going to watch Echo's daughter. She posted a video like 6 weeks ago, so like 3 videos together. So we're going to see her tell her account of things and what she's been going through. And so this here, Kelsey told Dateline that she last spoke to her mother on the evening of May 9th, 2020, the day before Mother's Day. The next day, she drove to her house in Edwards, Missouri to deliver a Mother's Day card and flowers, but her mother didn't appear to be home. Her car wasn't in the driveway and the door was locked, Kelsey explained. So I left the card and flowers on the porch and wrote her a note telling her to call me. But Kelsey never received a call from her mother. On Monday, Kelsey tried calling her mother on both her cell and house phones and continued calling every morning of every day that week, but the calls went straight to voicemail. It was just odd, Kelsey said. When the house phone went to voicemail, I knew something wasn't right. On Friday, May 15, and here's one of the kickers. May 15, Kelsey drove back to her mother's house, but this time her mother's locked car was in the driveway. So that's weird, right? When she first went, I guess the car wasn't there. Now she comes back, the car's there. I started banging on the front door and the back. I was banging on the whole house, hoping she was inside and she'd hear me, Kelsey said, but no one was there. Kelsey said she also checked her mother's she shed, kind of a weird one to say back to back, where Echo could often be found working on various projects. She had been renovating the house, Kelsey explained. She's an artist and would get really creative with whatever home project she was working on. She was redoing the living room at the time. She really wanted to make her place her own and prove that she could do it on her own. Kelsey told Dateline her mother and stepfather had amicably separated a couple of years ago and that Echo had moved into the house that was on 10 acres of land near a lake. She loved the lake life, Kelsey said. So it was the perfect place for her new life. It was a fresh start, and I know she was happy there. After searching the property, Kelsey went to the neighbor's house for answers, but said he told her that he hadn't seen Echo. Now even more worried about her mother, Kelsey broke one of the windows to the house with a rock and climbed inside. I could tell someone else had been there. Someone, but not my mother, Kelsey said. It wasn't ransacked, but there was a pile of trash and food with mold. That's not like my mother at all. She's OCD. She wouldn't have left the house like this. In Echo's room, Kelsey found her mother's cigarettes and lighter on the nightstand. Below, her mother's purse, her wallet, ID, and some cash still inside. What I couldn't find was my mother's cell phone, her medications, her pistol, and her car keys, Kelsey told Dateline. I called the police right away and then I went outside to wait and started calling out, "Mom, Mommy, Echo." I was just willing her to appear that moment. Okay. It's my fault. Kelsey said that she and her family fear foul play is involved in Echo's disappearance and have no reason to believe that she would walk away from her family, especially with no form of identification or money. She just wouldn't walk away from her family, Kelsey said tearfully. My son is just 1 month old when she disappeared. She loves her grandbaby. She'd never leave us. She'd never leave her grandbaby. Echo's disappearance was initially investigated by the Benton County Sheriff's Office. Benton County Sheriff Eric Knox told NBC in July that based on what they found, it did not seem as though Echo has the resources to be on her own. He added that there had been no activity on her cell phone or bank account. She had not refilled any of the medications that she takes regularly. She's on several medications that she does not have with her, nor does she have her billfold or her car. She is absolutely missing without a trace. Searches were conducted, but without a specific area to pinpoint, the search has stalled over the months. Kelsey told Dateline that there were sightings of her mother on the day she went missing, possibly at the Dollar General, but said there are discrepancies to the location at which she was last seen. Kelsey said she believes her mother had returned home after she left the flowers on the porch because her mother's car was in the driveway, and Kelsey found a Walmart receipt in the house dated May 10th with her mother's signature. She added that all the evidence has been turned over to the authorities. And I wonder May 10th, but what time? What time was on the receipt? The investigation has been since handed over to the Missouri State Highway Patrol Missing Persons Clearinghouse, which is posted on Echo's information on its website. Evelyn, thank you so much for the stars. Appreciate that. Hit the like button and share. Please, guys, if you wouldn't mind hitting the like, helping the video get out a little bit. I know this is not a popular one. So as I mentioned earlier too, she has a Facebook page. She has the website. I don't know what the reward is now. At this point, when this article came out, it said $7,000. There's a GoFundMe. Echo is 5'4" tall, 5 feet 4 inches tall, weighs between 100 and 110 pounds, brown hair, brown eyes, and she has a "Let It Be" tattoo, which is the image that I put in the thumbnail. With birds on her forearm, she also has names of her 4 children, Kelsey, Casey, Caitlin, and Kyle, tattooed on her wrist. All right. So that was kind of a mouthful, but I thought it was really detailed. I thought it was one of the best articles that I read. Some people in the chat said that supposedly the mother might have had broken up with a boyfriend at the time or something before she went missing. I don't know if that's true or not. I haven't looked it up myself. Somebody said that she was on Profiling Evil, and somebody else said that I know that she was on Leave It to Beaver's channel. And what we're going to do now is let's just hear directly from Kelsey. So let me pull up the video here. We can watch. So this is about 30 minutes. So I'm not really going to talk. I'm just going to let it ride because it's a lot to watch. So we can kind of like push through. I think that's good.
Okay. I am really nervous. It has been 11 months since my mom, Echo Michelle Lloyd, has went missing. She went missing the week of Mother's Day, May 10th, 2020. She is 5'4", about 100 to 110 pounds. She was 47 when she went missing. Brown hair, brown eyes, beautiful smile. I apologize for the noise outside the car. I wanted to do this before an appointment today and while I had the time. I have been scared for many reasons.
And this was posted 6 weeks ago, just FYI. This is a more recent video on the Facebook page.
Not to do this. But I have to stop letting fear. I have to stop letting fear get in the way and do what I think is right. Because bringing my mom home is the most important thing, no matter what. And I can't let fear of upsetting anybody get in the way, or the fear of the police not helping us even more than they already are. I'm so sorry, I'm shaking so bad. Okay, so I wanted to make sure we back law enforcement because it's their job and their duty to help me bring mom home and bring justice for my family. And I'll always stand behind Blue, 100%. And you don't really know what's going on in the beginning, and the more time that goes on, the more you see, the more you know, and the more you understand.
Guys, this is on her Facebook page. I just downloaded it and I fixed the audio, but I'll put the link to this after. I'm not going to interrupt much either. We just got to play the video and get through it, but I said it earlier, bring Echo home. These videos are on the page, and you guys can go follow that as well.
Understand? So I wrote a list of reasons why we need to start asking the police what's going on and what's happening in Benton County, Missouri. So from day one, I was told I wasn't allowed to go to the police or go to the media, whether that was radio, Facebook, or radio, Facebook, news outlets, anything. They asked us not to do that and not to ask for help finding her because they didn't want to scare anybody away. And I waited 2 days and I just didn't feel like it was right that I wasn't asking for help. And so I did it anyways, and some family got upset that I posted her on Facebook. And it's understandable because law enforcement had asked us not to, and I went behind what they had asked us to do and did it anyways. And let me go ahead and roll my windows up. And I had some people upset with me, and I understand that. So when they got there, I mean, from the get-go, you know, I knew something was really wrong, and I knew who they needed to go question, and I've been scared to say.
Oh, really?
That I could get in trouble for slander. But my mom came to me 2 weeks before she disappeared, and she told me all kinds of stuff for hours, and then she left, and it really messed me up. I didn't talk to anybody about it for about 5 days because I just couldn't comprehend what was happening, and she was calling me and checking in. And so I told him, you need to go question this person right now. You need to go down there right now. They know that I called you and they've got her somewhere. They've done something to her. And they told me to calm down. You don't know that that's what happened. You don't know that that's what happened. Start from the beginning and tell me from the beginning. And so I did. And there was so much at that point, so many times I'd had to go to her house, or her and I had discussions. I'd had to sit this person down and tell them, you have no boundaries. She's so hard, she doesn't do confrontation well. And so she called me and said, please come over. And I did. And to have to sit them down and tell someone you have no boundaries, there should be no reason. Okay, I'm really sorry.
when you see these cuts, I put the videos together. She was having issues. I think her phone was overheating. I don't know if anybody's ever had that. Your phone overheats, it'll like shut down or whatever. So that's the little cut. That's why you see that.
My phone got too hot. So hopefully that doesn't happen again. So, all right, where I left off was they told me to calm down and repeat everything, and so I did. And when they got there, I mean, when I went to her home, and by the time I got in her house.
And guys, please there's like 76 people here, which is not a lot, but please hit the like button if you wouldn't mind to help the algorithm get it out.
I did touch things, but I mean, immediately what was going through my head was don't touch anything, don't touch anything, don't touch anything, you know, barely touch things. And they weren't wearing gloves. And so anyways, one of the deputies had pulled me to the side, and I wrote everything down in absolute detail and kept telling them they needed to go question them. So they walked around or whatever. I didn't know that, like, on a podcast I had mentioned her pistol, and I didn't know that I wasn't. I didn't mean to let anything out. I got a call
she wasn't
from
supposed to say that, I guess.
Knox, about that, and told me that I was ruining her case by talking about it.
Oh man.
About any of it.
Feel bad for her, man.
And I was gonna mess things up, which doesn't make sense because before that I was told he'd probably have to do it again, in order to get caught.
Jesus.
So anyways, we walked around or whatever, and it was about 6 hours that I was there. And when I was able to leave, that's when deputies were down questioning the neighbors. And the specific neighbor I talked about was not there. And I thought, well, that's funny. And come to find out, you know, it took the police knocking on their door for them to come to the door, and they've like, we've been out here knocking, you know, trying to talk to you. What have you been doing? And they were taking a nap. Now, you're my mom's only friend who forced her to go places. I want everybody to be reminded of that. My mom told me she felt like something was a community effort. It was a community effort not to let her car be fixed in time. And I don't care if I sound crazy. I don't care anymore. Like, this shit has to, I'm so sorry, this stuff has to get out. I've been holding a lot in. So when we did the foot search, you know, I kept saying we need dogs or whatever. And that was going to be scheduled for Saturday because they came out and did the initial investigation starting that on Friday. And so Saturday we did a foot search with about 25 people or so. We only searched about 3 to 4 miles behind her home and like a U-turn and back to her property. That's it. Wow. There is Forbes land that is over 12,400 acres that starts to butt up to her property. So all we did was search this small area. Sorry. And then Sheriff Knox said, we're going to call off the dogs. They rescheduled them for Sunday. We're going to call off the dogs. We don't believe that she disappeared from her home. Okay. But why would you think that? You know, because her purse was there, her ID was there, her car was there. I mean, and then forensics didn't come for about 2 weeks to her property. So it was a sitting duck. They told me basically that, you know, I shouldn't have my hopes up and she's probably just gone. Yeah. I was told at one point, I called after 2 months, I called the sheriff's department back and said, listen, can I go to media yet? Can I go to news outlets? I was told by a specific deputy, I'll have to ask, you know, my sergeant, but I'll call you back. Sorry, the tornado sirens are going off right now. My phone's getting hot again, so hopefully it doesn't shut off. They'd have to ask their sergeant and get back to me, and they called me back and said, no, you still do not need to go to the media. And I asked why, and they said, we cannot, you know, tell you what to do. That's what this specific person said. I cannot tell you what to do. Hold on a minute, guys. I know that's so loud. I cannot tell you what to do whether to go or not to go to the media, but they do not want false leads to be brought in, and they do not want to scare off the possible, who possibly did this. Okay, but how are you going to get leads to come in if we don't get the word out? On another note, when it comes to a missing person, even if it's no foul play suspected, there aren't many of them that I have seen where they're not releasing where they were last publicly seen, who they were last publicly seen with, what the vehicle they were in, what they were wearing. I have not been given this information. I have not been given anything at all whatsoever. I have been begging, I have been pleading. It's been a little over a week or so the last time that I spoke with the lead detective, and I was highly upset. And I said, it's time for me to bring the truth to the light because there's so much more going on in Benton County. But right now my focus is my mom. So it took time for them to think that she might possibly be in danger. They just kept saying she just disappeared, and we're like, she wouldn't do that, she wouldn't do that. That didn't matter. And they knew she was without her medication, so why wasn't she an endangered missing person? And I was also told that that would not change how they are doing their investigation if she was endangered, which she should have been. She was without medications that she needed. And let's see, man. So they won't give any information. The Dollar General, in the beginning, because there's so many leads that haven't been followed up on, multiple people who have come to us with information, and we make sure to pass that on immediately. And then come to find out, they'll contact us again later and say, hey, they didn't touch base with us. They haven't done an interview. I have been told by the lead detective that they have done about 60 interviews. Okay, so when it comes to Suzanne Morphew's case, okay, and I know it's a different case, but over the span of a year, they did over 400 interviews, even across state lines. I have no air in my car right now, so sorry. I look like a hot, sweaty mess, and I know it. Okay, I apologize. I had an appointment. I wanted to try to get this in before my appointment and wasn't able to. And then my phone kept overheating and shutting my live off. So I apologize for that. Welcome to my world. Things like that happen all the time, so I'm really sorry. Third time is hopefully, fingers crossed, a charm. All right, so I don't know if I left off about where the dogs were. And 2 months in, when I asked about going to the media, that's when I started calling. I called the FBI, I called Kansas City, I called Springfield, I called Missouri State Highway Patrol, I called the governor's office, the senator, I called the attorney general, and I was told by the attorney general's office, sorry, we don't deal with anything like that, which at the time, I didn't know anything. Still kind of don't, if I'm honest, about the attorney general. So I felt stupid because, I mean, people had told me to go speak, talk to the attorney general, and people still do, and they find that odd that I was told that they don't deal with this kind of thing. Because I needed help. I wanted help. I knew something was really wrong. Like, why are we being told to be quiet about this? If you're guessing that she's just gone and it's going to have to happen again in order for them to be caught, why am I being quiet about trying to find her? It doesn't make any sense. And, we were all saying that she didn't disappear on her own. She wouldn't leave her kids. She wouldn't leave her grandkids, which is true. My mom, before, if my mom needed a weekend away, she had 4 freaking kids. So she would let her husband know where she was going, and she would take a weekend away. That is a normal thing to do if you need that time for you. But she always told somebody where she was going. So her not telling anybody, her home phone starting to go straight to voicemail is really odd. And that started the day after Mother's Day. It started going straight to voicemail. And when I text her second phone, because she has 2 phones, okay? She has a T-Mobile phone, that's an iPhone. And then she had a Verizon phone, which was a prepaid phone, because in Edwards down there, you have really bad cellular service. And T-Mobile isn't the best in that area. It's pretty bad. But Verizon, if you go to certain spots, you could get at her property service. This person had taken over that phone. This person had told her, I have photos of your brand new grandson, because I kept sending my mom pictures and wondering why aren't you trying to interact with my baby? Like, why aren't you trying to interact with me? You know, that's your grandbaby. She wasn't allowed to be at the hospital, and we knew that. And when she showed up to my house, she said, I knew, and I was told, like, you know, I've got the pictures of your baby, but I'm not going to show them to your grandbaby. And if you don't understand manipulation, if you don't understand vulnerability, and being in a vulnerable place, because my mom was a vulnerable person. My mom was naive to people. My mom just... Love was the answer to everything, and she wanted to be friends with everybody, and she wanted to help everybody, even when she needed help herself. She just continued to give, even when her cup was empty. And if you don't understand manipulation and people who are good at finding victims, you won't understand where her head was. And at the same time, when she came to my house, I don't know. I think she was doing it to protect me. My mom is hard-headed. I think she had the idea that she was, you know, this is it. This is the time I'm going to put my foot down. Because like I said, my mom's non-confrontational. I don't know. You know, I try not to hold guilt. Because I just feel like I wish, I don't know what I wish I would have done. Like, physically picked her up and, like, put her in my son's room, locked the door, like, you aren't leaving, stay in the tower. You know, you can't do that. I wanted to, but I didn't. I let her go. And I really regret that now. And so on that note, with these two cell phones, what is going on with the phones and the information on the phones? What's going on with that? There's got to be something. It has been a year. I've been told, you know, it's got to be passed up the ladder to get the pings, to get information. Okay, that's fine. Has anything come of that? You know, I didn't start... There are things, of course, that I cannot speak on, and I know that. But with the phone pings, information with the phones, where is that? What's going on with that? What's happening there? Well, Kelsey, what do you want us to look into? I don't know everything. You're the police. I'm not understanding why you're coming to me and like, well, what do you want us to do? I want you to do your job. That's what I want you to do. I want you to find some answers. We've come to this day and there are more questions than answers. The person that I believe in my heart that did this to my mother, for a multitude of reasons, I have so much evidence, and of course, you know, it's his word against her word. I am not here for anything but the truth. And my mom, I have no reason to lie. He has every reason to lie about everything.
Damn.
So he had a grandfather that he lived with in Duroc Bay. That grandfather was sweet on my mom. He would bake her pies, she'd make him dinner, things like that. He'd call up there, he'd check on her at the house. 2 weeks after my mom disappears, his grandfather passes away. Not from old age, but from a fall. His back was broken in half. And it wasn't just in one day that he goes to the hospital and passes away. No, he was left on the floor for 3 days. 3 days. And then a family member called and said, you know, a neighbor, and said, listen, you've got to go check on him. I can't get him and see, you know, how he is. And they went in and he was on the floor and he passed away on the 4th day. They did no autopsy. Nothing. Knowing my mom's case has been opened, okay? Knowing that I've been saying this person, like, look in this direction, like, what is going on here? Have you done a search of their home? Have you done anything? I mean, crazy things. This person was doing really weird stuff at this property, booby-trapping the house, doing different things like that. Why would you do that if you didn't have a guilty conscience? Doesn't make any sense. He did all kinds of things to that house after his grandfather passed away. But nothing was done with it. And by the time I kind of had somebody's ear, you know, he'd been cremated and couldn't be exhumed to do an autopsy because I really wanted to try to get his family justice.
Makes me think of the other case, Bill, kind of, the cremation and all that.
Also, so the information with the Dollar General especially, because there is that conflict of Climax Springs and Edwards. Or in Warsaw, I apologize. Climax Springs and Warsaw, okay? So the confirmation that we have is by speaking to the employees at the Dollar General in Warsaw personally, person to person. And we were told it was Warsaw, Missouri. We've been told that. The only thing I've recently been told is my information is wrong, which makes no sense. I was told that by law enforcement. Now my information is wrong. And the thing is if there's anything going on, if I felt like they were doing anything, I wouldn't be doing this. But I need justice for my mom. My mom needs justice. That is the whole reason they're in a position. You are to be there to help uphold the law. Put people behind bars that deserve to be behind bars. You can't take another person's life into your own hands and make a decision to end it. That's what somebody did, and they're just letting them go. Or ever go. I can't tell you if there was more than one person, because I know by...
Sorry about that. I don't know what it's done.
Do you know for a fact that the person involved... Everything needs to them. Everything needs to them, and yet somehow the cops don't have anything. And what blows my mind... Evidence. What's going on with evidence? How is everything circumstantial? And what I also don't understand is Suzanne Morphew's husband is behind bars. Her body has not been found. I understand they've done a bunch of interviews and things like that, but then you don't have any physical freaking evidence in front of you, right? And that guy's behind bars. So what's happening with my mom's case? I have been told not to trust law enforcement on this case. I have been told that by other law enforcement.
Wow, damn.
And if anybody wants to call me a liar or anything, I have learned to save everything. So
Same
at this
here.
point, I trust nobody.
Same here.
I can't even trust the people that are supposed to help me because something is wrong. Something's going on. It just doesn't make sense. And then they'll tell people, Texas AquaSearch, really wanted to come up. Well, you see, we don't have a place to start. How about her house? I don't know. That's a place to start. They have no answers for me. And I'll say, why did Benton County put Climax Springs, not Warsaw? Well, I'm told by one group, by Missouri State Highway Patrol, I'm sorry, we can't answer for Benton County. And I'm told by Benton County, you can't answer for the Sheriff's Department. Nobody can answer anybody's questions. They want me to just go to the other person. They don't work together as a team like they should and discuss everything. There are so many times that there's been information that I know has been told to them more than once. And then they'll be like, well, I didn't have that in my notes. What do you mean you didn't have it in your notes? And then what they want me to do is start from the beginning and go all over it again. And don't get me wrong, I will do it. But now I have a whole year's worth. My family, and close friends who are trying really hard to find mom have all of these different leads and information. And some of them are true, we don't know if they're true or not true because as far as I know, nothing's being done with a lot of it. A lot of it, I'm being told one thing, and then you find out later that it's not happening. There's been no press releases, which I don't understand. And then Sheriff Knox getting on the interview 2 months in and saying, you're right, we're going to need the help from our citizens to find this woman.
2 months.
Really? Because I've been in the hot seat with my family because I'm ready to scream it from the mountaintops and ask where she is and what's going on. I felt cornered when I went and finally sat down with Sheriff Knox. He made sure he had 2 other deputies sitting back in a corner quietly. And this isn't to try to make you feel intimidated. Well, how are you not supposed to feel intimidated? And all I could do was sit there and shake my head at what he had to say. There's a lot going on in Benton County, and again, my point is to find my mother. That there are murders that are being called suicides. People aren't lying about those.
Murders being
People
called suicides.
are getting away with a lot and not getting in trouble. And you wonder why. I lived in Edwards for a little while, and I can honestly say that that will not happen ever again. Driving to my house, of course, there are a lot of abandoned properties and things like that, houses burned down out there. You can smell the dope cooking. Tell me how the sheriff's department doesn't notice that. You can see an abandoned house that's fallen in and dilapidated, and there's smoke rising from the chimney. There are places that I was told she was forced to go to, and right after she disappeared, I started questioning around. Come to find out that place was, it was true. It was like everything I questioned about what she had told me 2 weeks before she disappeared was more confirmation than anything. And it's just the whole 2020 in hindsight really sucks. I don't know what I wish I would have done. I just wish I wouldn't have let her leave. It's time for us to start knocking on Benton County's door and Missouri State Highway Patrol's door and asking them what's really going on with this case. Why aren't you answering me? Why aren't you answering any of my questions or giving me legitimate answers or an actual answer other than, I'm sorry, it's an open investigation, I can't tell you anything? That makes absolutely no sense to me. You guys keep saying there's no foul play suspected. So you're not going to tell me what she was seen on CCTV wearing? Who she might have been with, what vehicle she was in? That's weird. That is weird. It is weird to tell me I can't ask for help. The sheriff's department was not happy that I was trying to get Texas EquiSearch, FBI, everybody else. And at one point I was told, Missouri State Highway Patrol will get all the credit for this. So that's what you're worried about, credit? This has been a whole year building up, watching other things unfold in Benton County. I'll never go back. I've got, and I don't care anymore. If people want to think that I'm crazy, if you think I'm wrong for doing this, so be it. So be it. The truth needs to come to the light. And I don't know who's playing on what side in Benton County. I don't know who's dirty, who's not. I don't know why nothing is happening with her case, but there is definitely a reason nothing is happening with her case. And at this point, I want to know why. I am not going to be pushed around anymore. I am not going to be put on the back burner. I am not going to let her be forgotten. We cannot let her be forgotten. Please don't let my mom become a cold case. Please get everybody, news media outlets. She's been missing a year. Let's get national coverage. Get people to start asking these guys what's going on. If you knew you were not equipped in the beginning to look for my mom, why? Why did you wait until September to have Highway Patrol step in? Because I'd been asking since July. I've been begging since July. I'd been telling State Highway Patrol, actually the lead detective on this case, what do I need to do to be able to get you on? And then with Missouri State Highway Patrol, I said, what do I need to do to get the FBI involved? And at this point, I trust no one, and my head it is spinning. I've been really worried about people being upset with me by telling the truth, my truth. Whether it's yours or not, it's my truth, and I have the proof. I have the proof to back me. You learn to record everything and keep note of everything.
Facts.
So everyone, what I can ask of you today is to please start asking Highway Patrol and Benton County Sheriff's Department what's going on in Benton County and where is Echo Lloyd? Why haven't you searched certain areas that we know should have been searched right from the get-go? Anywhere else probably would have sent a search team out to search certain areas, especially of the water that's around her home. I try not to get too excited, but there it is. There's the whole truth and nothing but the truth. Why someone is not behind bars right now, I do not know. I do not understand. I don't know what you're doing to earn your paycheck when it comes to you being on my mom's case. And I apologize if that comes off as rude, but I am done. I am angry. I am fed up. I am fed up. I need people to hear me more now than ever. I am scared. I am scared, especially now coming out.
That's what I was going to say. I don't know. It's only 1 minute left. And I'm going to give some afterthoughts. And we'll probably follow up with this story. My goal today was just to help spread this out because Bieber told me about it. I don't want to interrupt too much. Who else is going to tell this story better than her? And I don't know what that area is like. It seems like it's a small town. I don't know what's going on with it. So supposedly or allegedly, Echo, who lives, this is according to people.com, because I've seen 3 or 4 different locations, who lives in Fourth View area of Edwards, was believed to have last been seen at the Dollar General in Climax Springs on May 10th. So, okay, whatever that means. I have no idea these areas. I was actually trying to look it up right now on Google Maps to kind of get some sort of visual, but I have no idea. I don't know. But I wonder if it's like one of those small type of towns. And I would really be interested in looking into who's this person that she's referring to, like the actual name. Not going to do that right now, but maybe another time do some research and find out about this. I feel really, really bad for her. I couldn't imagine. And, I see people handle things differently. And in some cases, people just stay quiet because the people, I guess, media or family. I feel her where she's coming from. This whole, I'm just supposed to stay quiet. My mother's missing and missing and missing. What are we going to do? The thing where it's like 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, 30 years later kind of shit and not say nothing. I can also understand from the perspective of law enforcement as far as like she mentioned that she was on a podcast and she accidentally mentioned that her mother's gun was gone as well. If I read that, if that was I believe that's what she said. Yeah, what I couldn't find was my mom's cell phone, her medications, her pistol, and her car keys. The other really weird, bizarre thing is when Kelsey first went there on May 10th to deliver the card and the flowers. Her car wasn't in the driveway. Her mother's car wasn't in the driveway. The door was locked. And then she went back on, what was it, May? I want to make sure I'm correct about the dates. I thought May 15th, she drove back to her mother's house, but this time her mother's locked car was in the driveway. And I was thinking too, did they do forensics? That's a good question too, Rising. Any body cameras? I think we're going to do a follow-up on this. This is just a preliminary. We'll start with the first video. Somebody said a YouTube creator did a video of the area. Maybe we can check that out sometime. I don't sometimes want to play people's videos because I don't know, how people feel, get a claim or whatever, but maybe next time we'll check it out. I am curious what that area is like. Let me finish off the last minute. Oh, and thank you, Joni, for the stars. Appreciate that. You said praying.
There's a lot of things that are covered up down there. But first and foremost, my mom. And not that other people don't matter, but my mom comes first in my book. So, here we are, 11 months and
that's crazy
of mom missing.
I'm just supposed to be quiet the entire time? I can't say shit? Who's gonna do that?
I just want help finding her. That's
Right.
all I want is her home, and I'll do whatever it takes to bring her home.
Would you be quiet?
I love you guys. My family loves you. Thank you for your support. I really hope I've got everybody behind me on this.
Thank you, Leanne.
Let's work together and bring Echo home, please.
It's time and worse. Okay, we'll talk after the stream. Let's talk a little bit about this. I really wanted to keep this brief so people that watch the rebroadcast, because it's Sunday, my audience isn't really on too much on Sunday at this time. But I wanted to keep it brief so people can come back and watch it and not have to go through a bunch of pauses. That's why I try to, keep it very to the point. I mean, you can go support for free. Go check out the Facebook page, Bring Echo Home. Okay, if you just typed it in on Facebook, you can do that. And you can share a post, maybe go leave a kind comment. If you don't like me, you don't have to like this video, but you can go directly over there and like and share. The other thing, there is GoFundMe. You can check that out as well. I put the link in the description for Facebook and YouTube. It's already down there if you want to. I wonder, let me read the GoFundMe actually really quick. Okay, so the GoFundMe, we already know Echo went missing on the week of May 10th. On Friday 15, I discovered my mom missing from her home. Nothing missing but her keys, her pistol, and her medications. An investigation was then started by the Benton County Sheriff's Department. Unfortunately, we have no leads, no evidence that has helped bring Echo home. We're asking for your help in donating to our cause of finding Echo. Making signs, posters, website to help spread awareness. I mean, I have to say, and I only heard about this like a week or so ago when Bieber told me about it, but I haven't looked into it until today. This is just very preliminary. I just pulled it up like 2 hours ago. I started pulling things up, but she has been really advocating and putting things together. She has the Facebook page set up. She has the website set up, the GoFundMe thing. They have a reward too. Okay. Legal fees and search fees, any foreseen on expenses. So I wondered too if they ever got a private investigator. And I wonder what kind of town this is. It's a small town. So it's like, I don't know, like everybody knows everybody. I mean, I've heard of so many stories where police, and especially in small towns, cover for each other, cover up. They switch things up or details or whatever. They also, maybe they feel some sort of animosity towards her, to Kelsey, the daughter. Maybe they feel like, oh, she's saying too much. Maybe they don't like her talking. Even she said her family got upset with her for speaking up. I wonder if I could pull up this Dollar General. And after the stream too, if anybody has information about the guy and the name, email me. You don't type it in the chat. Just email me. Because I have no problem. We can get dirty. We can play dirty. I know how to play dirty and be safe and cautious for legal reasons. You know what I'm saying? If it gets to that. But just, email me. nickymail@nickymail.com. I mean, I'd probably be losing my mind too. I'm not saying she is, but you can clearly see she's stressed out. And everybody's just telling you, be quiet, be quiet. And they're not giving you details of, she said, the CCTV or what she was last seen wearing. But she's the daughter. That's family. But maybe they feel like she's talking and she's going to put things out that they don't want to put out. It reminds me a little bit of this one case up north, Florida. Can't even think of her name. There's been so many, it's just like so many people. Where this girl, from the train tracks, her car was left and the cop comes and let me see if I could play that maybe we could play that real quick before we head out. Let me check my notes here real quick. Okay. Not Veronica Reyes, though she wasn't one from up there. It was the other woman. Just slipped my mind. Actually, I can type this in. Kaya Taylor. And it reminds me a little bit of that in a way. I'll tell you why here in a second. I made a video. I think I did a really good video. I thought it was great. It's like 20 minutes. I'll play this and we'll end off. And not to like take away from the person that we're talking about now, but just how weird things in the towns happen that don't make sense, and that this stuff kind of really happens. I don't know this town at all, but you know, I'm in South Florida, and even I actually traveled up there up north for Veronica Reyes, and I met the family. I even interviewed the family. And so if you've never seen that, that's something you guys should check out as well. But I'll play this video. Kaya Taylor and Veronica Diaz and the whole situation with the cops, which it's just weird. It's very weird. Start this. Yeah, just check this out and then we'll be out of here. And Melinda, I hope you guys are doing good. Nasty Bro Pro, thank you for coming through. And Brody, there's a lot of things we're doing behind the scenes too with the channel. So, you know, there's a lot of little, hopefully things come to fruition. Hey, TechML, welcome to the channel. And today we're going to be talking about Kaya Annette Taylor, a woman that went missing February 6, 2020. It's like a cold case up North Florida, Plant City. And I was supposed to cover this a while back because when I covered Veronica Reyes Diaz, this woman went missing in Dover, Florida, which is like not far away. And literally when you put in the locations of where Kaya's car was last seen and where Veronica was reportedly last seen, where she supposedly walked out of the trailer. And can you guys hear it okay too, the video? Never seen it again. It's about 20 minutes apart. Not saying that these cases are related, but many times both of these names have come up. I would say probably because of the distance, 20 minutes apart. I would say that because Veronica went missing January 18, 2020. Kaya went missing February 6, 2020. And so the time and the distance. And there's another tidbit before we get into all the details, and this will make more sense to you after the fact. But with Kaya, with the police officer that found her car, and we're going to get into the details of that, but he takes her car. Kind of low. Let me increase it for you guys. I can do a little bump in the volume. The railroad, an abandoned car, mind you, with the door ajar.
Her car was found abandoned with all of her stuff in.
The details of this, and I just want you to pay attention. So for a small town area and cops and just weird shit, because I don't know where Echo lives, like that area, I have no idea. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to visualize it, but I can't. I always think about relatability. What I can relate to. And I think somewhat, even though this is a completely different story, just the weird oddities, you know?
Inside on some train tracks on Trapnell Road in Plant City.
Facing not even vertically, like when you're driving, it was horizontally, according to Unfinished Business, with her belongings in the car, her cell phone on the floor, car's doors open, and the cop's like, I'm just gonna take this car and pull it over and close the door and leave, right? Set that aside for a minute, right? Because we're gonna get into that. Veronica, the night that she went out with her friends and she had to drop off 2 of her kids at her sister's house while the husband Francisco stayed home with 1 of the kids. I'll put the links down below if you want to see that story. That night, okay, after she's out with her friends and she goes to pick up the kids from her sisters, somebody locally called me. Somebody that literally lives in the area. I'm just going to leave it at that as far as identification. This person called me and told me that Veronica was pulled over by police that night for a busted taillight and got a warning. So you have an idea of some of the locations that I'm talking about. This is Dover, Florida. This is where Veronica lived and resided. Now, Plant City is right next door to Dover. And so Plant City is where Kaya's car was found and where the guy was living, the boyfriend's friend. We'll get into that in a minute. And I mapped out some of the locations, and just so you can try to kind of understand what I'm talking about. So Veronica lived over here in this area, Dover. And the person that called me on the phone alleged that she was pulled over by Plant City High School for the busted taillight. That was a rumor. I don't know if it's true or not. And so over here, this is where Kaya's car was found by the train tracks. And well, the only thing is I wasn't sure because that night Veronica, when she went out with friends, she went to Chili's. So I don't know if she went to this Chili's here, which this is considered Brandon, Florida, or if she went to the Chili's by Plant City High School, which is right here. Veronica also has a sister that lives in Plant City. That's where she dropped off the kids.
Dad says her car, keys, and purse were all left behind.
Her purse was left in the vehicle with money, ID, keys, or not even a charger for her phone.
Her keys, her phone, her license, her debit card, everything was in her vehicle.
That's the only things that I just see for the people that, you know, because both of the names are brought up and I just thought I'd put that out there. I don't think I've announced that publicly. I might have said it in a member's video. A cop stopped her and then she goes home, supposedly goes inside the house, and the kid supposedly says she stepped out and never returns. He wakes up in the morning around 7, doesn't see Veronica around, and the older child tells him that mommy went back outside at night. Again, this is according to the husband and the story that was told to police by him.
Her husband told me he woke up about 7 o'clock Saturday morning and he looked for her and he couldn't find her. So he woke up the oldest son and asked him, no, mama went outside.
Kaya Taylor, let's get into this. Now, I have to say before we start that the Facebook page that's being managed for Kaya Taylor, which I believe is the family, I was kind of impressed. I went today. So I don't know that I should take you guys through this whole thing right now. I mean, I just kind of wanted you guys to see a little bit. This is a weird story. Just type it up because I don't want to take away too much from Echo. But this is just a weird, bizarre story. 2 women upper North Florida. Veronica, when she went missing the night before she got pulled over by police, which was weird, and then she goes missing. But that whole situation, it seems like the ex-husband or whatever might have had something to do, allegedly, but nobody knows for sure. The way cops did things was super weird. And then with Kaya Taylor, the weird oddity and stuff with that, because it's just weird. They found her car at a railroad, like horizontal, I believe. A police officer pulls up. The car was still on. The door was ajar. He takes the car and just puts it to the side and leaves. And then so like a couple of days later, I think the family came and they found the cars. I forgot exactly how the story went, but there was weird cop things around that too, in a way, you know. And these women are still missing. Nobody knows anything, you know. And it's kind of a small town. And the person that called me, that lives in that area, which I spoke to several people, and I actually went up there. And I spoke with the family. We did an interview, but the person that called me, they were like afraid to speak up because of the town. Like everybody knows each other, law enforcement, all these people, they know each other, and you got to live there. So it just kind of makes me think a little bit and fear a little bit for this lady, Kelsey, and her mother in that story. So yeah, I mean, go check out the Facebook page. I really appreciate you guys coming through just for this brief live stream. And I'm going to make a playlist on YouTube, I think. I really think I need to make a playlist on the front page for the stories that I've covered, missing persons, and just have an area that if you guys want to go look, you can see everything in one place because there's a lot of different things that I do on the channel. Yeah, and that's it, man. I really hope that some sort of resolution comes. I would be raising hell too. After a certain point, man, I'd be raising hell too. People want to tell me to be quiet, don't say too much, calm down. You know, we can't tell you this, we can't tell you that. How long are we going to go on with this? Right? So, the other thing too, with the other story that I covered earlier, and it's really interesting to see how different states and different law enforcement agencies handle certain cases and searches, and where you see in one place where in some places or in some instances, cops don't really do much, or it's kind of coming together, but not really. Like Veronica Reyes-Diaz, that was so super delayed before they really did things. But with the story from earlier today that I covered with Michael Vaughn, which it's a child, so I know it's kind of, but they had helicopters, search dog. They even had the drones with the infrared light And I want to get a drone. That's one of the things I want to do is get a drone. So when I go in person to some of the things that I do, like some of the cases, I would love to have a drone with the infrared. That's probably really expensive. And the guy says like they fly out the drones like when it's a colder temperature, like at night or early morning, like whenever there's a colder temperature in the day where you're at. So it's easier to spot like heat signatures and stuff like that. And that's what they're using to find Michael Vaughn. I would like to know the address too of where Echo was staying, because I'm going to see about that YouTuber that did show the area, because I'm curious to know what that area looks like. And I just wonder if this place has the resources. And I guess Texas EquiSearch, I guess they didn't get involved, or something happened where they didn't get involved. So, and Texas EquiSearch requires the police to request them. Families just can't go and request them. I know a lot of people try that. It doesn't work like that with them. The police have to request it. So, and and the biggest thing I would think would be that car. Like, did they check for fingerprints, hair samples, blood? Like, what did they do with the car? The mother's car. And this person that Kelsey was referencing, the police, I mean, I don't know if they'd have to have a search warrant, I guess, but did they track his cell phone? Was he around the area? Was he wherever the vehicle was? The hell's going on over there? So, I don't know, man. But yeah, we'll be following. There's a lot of crazy stories. There's a lot of missing people that don't get attention. That's one of the things I've always wanted to do. I sometimes cover, I sometimes cover the popular stories, but I'd love to be able to do the unpopular stuff too, and bring attention to some of the stories if possible. And we do a bunch of other different things as well. So, yeah. Yeah, right. Brody said, no way in the world I would be quiet. I'm sorry. If the car is not reported stolen, they do that. I'm not going to be quiet either. After a certain point, I'll start. If it was me, I mean, especially with what I do, and this is not a good, I mean, it's not a good logical thing to say F the police, because these are the same people investigating. But man, if it was a certain amount of time that goes by, I'd probably start saying that. I probably would. I'd be really pissed off. So. Oh, Prisma. That's a story I want to do. That's a Texas story. You don't know how many times I meant to start that. I think I even have notes, but I just never got around to it. There's a lot of stories I never get around to, or just, the timing and stuff. Prisma. You can see here on my screen from a long time ago, I started taking notes. My little note section. I need to follow up and do this story. This story was kind of weird too, because she was seen on video and she's supposed to get into an argument at a bar and something going on. And she's seen, I think, at the walking to the elevator of her, I think it was her building. So we'll do that eventually. I need to do that story. Here's my raise. I started on it. So, but yeah, thank you guys, man. I love you. Take care. Be safe. Yo, please wash your hands when you're going in and out of your house. Florida is crazy right now. We're like the #1 state in the U.S. for that stuff that's going on. So, yo, be cautious whether you got this stuff or not. Just be really cautious out there, man. And your kids and all this kind of stuff. I don't know what's going on out there. So, all right, take care. Peace. Please hit like. Hit like before you get out of here. Subscribe. Turn on the bell with notifications. Like pulling teeth. All right. Peace.